Are we witnessing the slow death of what it truly means to be an astronaut? For generations, astronauts were seen as warriors of the unknown, risking everything for the sake of discovery. Today, flashy PR campaigns, billion-dollar rockets, and social media clout are threatening to erode the very idea of what it means to leave Earth. It all started with real heroes, real sacrifices, and now it feels like it's being sold to the highest bidder. In 1963, a woman named Valentina Tereshkova stepped into the void and changed history forever. She wasn't a wealthy tourist looking for an adrenaline rush. She was a factory worker, selected by the Soviet space program after brutal physical tests and mental screenings. When she launched aboard Vostok 6, she didn't just ride a rocket. She entered a metal coffin with no guarantee of return. Alone in orbit for nearly 3 days, Tereshkova battled nausea, disorientation, and life-threatening malfunctions. She completed 48 full orbits of Earth under brutal conditions. She vomited inside her helmet. She fought with a faulty spacecraft, yet she endured. She didn't just survive, she triumphed. That's the kind of grit that built the legacy of astronauts. Fast forward to the modern era, and you meet Sunita Williams, another titan of real space exploration. Williams wasn't just floating in microgravity for selfies. She spent 322 days in the crushing loneliness of space, performing grueling spacewalks, repairing critical systems, and enduring the mental strain of isolation. During one mission aboard the ISS, her equipment nearly failed. Oxygen levels dropped dangerously low. She trained for years for moments exactly like that. Every breath, every move, every decision could mean the difference between life and death. Williams wasn't a passenger. She was the mission. She embodies what it means to be an astronaut. But something shifted when Blue Origin's NS-31 mission blasted off. The headlines were glowing. The first all-female crew since Tereshkova. Celebration echoed across social media. Inspirational quotes, confetti emojis, flashy interviews. It sounded historic. But when the footage rolled out, the cracks appeared. Viewers noticed something odd. Hair that should have been floating wildly in zero gravity barely moved. The astronauts floated stiffly, awkwardly, as if the forces acting on them were staged. No clumsy drifting, no random tumbling, just neat, controlled movements. It didn't look like the ISS footage we've seen for decades. It looked fake, and experts noticed too. Former astronauts, engineers, and aviation specialists started speaking out. Chris Hadfield, a Canadian astronaut and ISS commander, once remarked that real spaceflight is about solving deadly problems, not singing songs in fancy suits. Space historians started raising the alarm. They warned that this wasn't just a feel-good story. It was a distortion of spaceflight's brutal, demanding reality. It was marketing dressed up as exploration. Behind the scenes, the truth was even more alarming. Whistleblowers at the Federal Aviation Administration, the agency that oversees spaceflight in the US, leaked damning reports. Internal documents revealed that the standards for awarding the astronaut title had quietly been loosened. In the past, astronauts needed to complete missions critical to flight safety or spacecraft operations to earn the wings. Now, if you crossed the Kármán line, the imaginary boundary 62 miles above Earth, you could call yourself an astronaut. No real danger required, no real contribution needed, just a ticket, a seatbelt, and a few minutes of floating. Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket isn't a deep space craft. It's a ballistic arc. It barely kisses the edge of space before falling back to Earth. Passengers experience only 3-4 minutes of microgravity, if you can even call it that. They don't pilot anything. They don't fix anything. They don't survive anything. They don't even stay long enough to adapt to microgravity's effects. Yet when they land, they're celebrated as astronauts. They get medals, they get titles, they get interviews, but did they really earn it? Compare that to real missions. Astronauts like Scott Kelly spent nearly a full year in space. His body suffered measurable damage, loss of bone density, vision deterioration, even changes to his DNA. Spaceflight battered him at a cellular level. Sunita Williams ran marathons while her body fought to stay functional in weightlessness. Chris Hadfield trained for years, mastering Russian spacecraft systems before commanding the ISS. They weren't tourists. They were soldiers on the final frontier. But now the public is being sold a lie. Blue Origin isn't just democratizing space. It's redefining it, lowering the bar so that paying customers can feel like heroes without ever facing real danger. And it's working. Social media is flooded with celebrities, influencers, and billionaires showing off their astronaut status. The public, dazzled by the glamour, buys the narrative. Meanwhile, the meaning behind the word is hollowed out. And this deception is happening at a dangerous moment. The space industry is at a crossroads. Private companies like SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, and Blue Origin are racing to dominate the future. Real scientific missions are still happening. SpaceX is ferrying astronauts to the ISS. NASA is planning Artemis missions to the moon. But the line between real exploration and expensive joyrides is blurring fast. If we don't draw a clear line now, the word astronaut could lose all meaning. Imagine a world where the sacrifices of Yuri Gagarin, Neil Armstrong, Valentina Tereshkova, and Sally Ride are lumped together with a billionaire who bought a 10-minute flight. Imagine telling future generations that risking your life to explore Mars and paying $250,000 for a suborbital selfie are the same thing. That's not just wrong, it's dangerous. It erodes the spirit of discovery itself. Blue Origin insists it's inspiring people. And to be fair, reaching space, any space, is still a technical marvel, but it's not the same as living in orbit, building science stations, conducting experiments, or forging human presence beyond Earth. It's tourism, plain and simple. And if tourism steals the title of astronaut, what will real explorers be called? The FAA's leaked documents made one thing chillingly clear. The commercial space race isn't just about innovation. It's about branding, about selling dreams, not earning them. Behind the scenes, flight experiences are carefully choreographed to minimize every risk. Passengers are protected from danger, but also from the truth. Real spaceflight is messy, it's dangerous, it's lonely, it's hard. A real mission isn't champagne and window views. It's risking your life for science, for humanity, for the unknown. Some insiders are calling for urgent reform. They want the FAA to create two categories: space tourists and astronauts. Space tourists would still be honored for their courage, but they wouldn't be confused with those who live, train, and risk everything for space exploration. Without that distinction, public trust in space programs could crumble. Already, veteran astronauts are warning that the title is being cheapened beyond repair. Some even suggest stripping commercial passengers of the title unless they complete critical training and real mission work. And it's not just astronauts speaking up. Scientists, engineers, and space historians fear a darker future. If public perception shifts too far, funding for real space exploration could dry up. Politicians could stop supporting costly missions. If the public sees space as just a playground for the rich, private companies could abandon scientific goals in favor of profit-driven spectacle. The dream of reaching Mars, building colonies, and pushing humanity deeper into the solar system could die, not because it's impossible, but because the public no longer believes it matters. The stakes are higher than they seem. This isn't just a fight over titles. It's a fight for the soul of space exploration. Humanity's greatest achievements, walking on the moon, building the ISS, sending probes to the edge of the solar system, were born from sacrifice, courage, and relentless curiosity. Those values are worth protecting. They are fragile, and once lost, they are almost impossible to reclaim. Meanwhile, Blue Origin pushes forward, celebrating each New Shepard mission as a milestone. More celebrities are lining up for tickets. More influencers are posting their astronaut photos. And each time it happens, the true meaning of spaceflight slips a little further away. NASA veterans watch with a mixture of pride and horror. Pride that humanity can reach so far. Horror that we're forgetting what it truly means to go there. History will judge this moment. It will remember who stood up for the legacy of exploration and who sold it off for likes and headlines. It will remember that Valentina Tereshkova hurled herself into the unknown with nothing but a hope and a prayer. That Sunita Williams lived nearly a year in the hostile darkness of orbit, facing dangers tourists can't even imagine. That pioneers bled, broke, and sometimes died to push the boundary of the possible. And it will remember who watered it all down. Because being an astronaut was never supposed to be easy. It was supposed to be the hardest thing a human could do. If it becomes just another luxury purchase, what dream will the next explorers even have left to chase?